Hey, it's Tess. I just wanted to jump in and say hello. For those that don't know me, I am a bariatric patient. I'm nearly 10 years post-surgical. For those that don't know, I actually entered the journey thinking that if I could get 10 years off the bench, it would be enough. And now my pet saying is, the Grim Reaper better have an amazing hoverboard because I'm going to be sliding in. God's going to give me a high five and I'm going to look at him laughing because he's not going to be able to keep up. So today I just wanted to talk about something, the idea of reaching for more. And before I get into this a lot, I'm just going to say, for those that don't follow me, I do have a YouTube channel. I'm going to make some changes to it, but I have started posting in it daily again. And if you haven't subscribed to it, please subscribe to it. I'm going to kind of shift more to like mindset. It was the weight loss treasure chest, but I'm going to kind of do more of a mindset, which is what my book here is all about. And the reason I bring this up is there's a funny story behind this YouTube thing for me. I'm using like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and now I'm getting my YouTube active again. And today I got a message from the gentleman responsible for me getting this book out, Bob McIntosh, and the message was about, don't forget about YouTube. And I thought, he's been giving me little pointers here and there. You know, he's the reason I got the book out because he issued me a challenge to get the book out by the end of the year. It took me a month longer, but I did get the book out. So I got this message and it says, don't neglect your YouTube. And so I'm like, oh shoot, I've been instructed. I can't mess this up. So I went and something anybody who does lives needs to know that Facebook is going to delete all of them. And then, you know, anything 30 days old, they're going to start deleting it. So I went into my Facebook and I started saving them and I scheduled 30 days out so that every day one of my Facebook videos will go live on my YouTube channel. And I sent him a message and I go, okay, I did it. I've got 30 of them out there. And he kind of told me, make sure you stay consistent because that's a really important thing on YouTube. And I started looking around a little later. I'm like, oh, that message wasn't personal for me. He had a group and he sent a group message. So I responded back and I said, I know it's all good, but I thought you were talking to me personally, and that's what triggered it. But the good, beautiful thing is any videos I've done in the past 30 days are saved and they're scheduled to start hitting my YouTube. And now I just got to go back for the older ones because sometime, I think it's July, everything in your Facebook will disappear. So I took it and I did something with it, even if it wasn't a message intended for me directly. But he was the one who pushed me on this, so I'm grateful and I'm glad that I got that journey started. And I put a reminder on my calendar so that I just keep moving in that direction. And for me, I was shadowing a lot of calls today, so I was able to do some saving and labeling while I was shadowing and writing notes. So it was multitasking, but it was a no thought part to that. So it worked out all the way around. Now going into today, what I wanted to talk about is always reaching for more. And when I worked with Sarah Mahoon on the Unlimited, it's the Law of Attraction book, she talked a lot about you need to be happy where you are, but reaching for more. So it's not that you don't reach for more, but you want to keep yourself happy with what you've accomplished in that place where your cup is full, but you're just looking to gain more so that you can share more with the world. And I thought that was a great way to look at things, and it's something my mom and I talk about a lot when we walk in the morning. And so here's a quote I'll start off with. It says, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. And I think that's an important thing because I tended to be a person who was anxious and fearful. And what I've learned is that I blocked things, and still sometimes I'll fall back to that pattern, but it blocked my future growth because I got stuck in the now instead of seeing the future potential. You want to be excited where you are and reaching for more, but not anxious. You want to be excited. And I think that's the key difference, because a lot of what I've been studying and reading about is it's almost like the same chemical makeup in your body, whether you're fearful or anxious or excited. So when you start to get that butterfly feeling, label it as excited, not anxious, and that will help you to move forward. So in this idea of always reaching for more, I looked up pointers on what does it mean to be reaching for more. For those that don't know, I was a W-2 employee preparing statutory financial statements for insurance companies for 30 years. When I started down this journey or this path, I I found the Money School crew and thought that there had to be some scam, so I was going to prove them wrong, only to find out everything they do is a gift that I think many more people could take advantage of. And I have since joined over and become a life agent so that I can share the IBC process with people. And it's been a great gift because for me, the giving into the everyday person is a little bit more rewarding than I spent my time in the corporate world, and I spent my time in, and I kind of laugh because right now we would be in year-end audit. And for statutory insurance companies, your regulatory statements are due March 1st. But as soon as you shut down the regulatory statements and file those, you're under audit because your audited statements are due by June 1st. So there's a part of me that's like, I just went to 2 events in the past month that I would not have been able to go to if I was in the other arena. So it made me think about, if I hadn't been reaching for more, if I hadn't have changed my mindset, which goes back to my book, if I hadn't have learned to look at things differently, I'd probably be sitting in an office right now crying because I just went through the crap of the first 3 months of the year only to get ready for the next 3. So the thing that reaching for more is, a lot is your mindset or the thoughts that you use or your approach to things. And the first thing they talk about is when you're always reaching for more. Yeah, here's Heather Ann, and I've met Heather and Derek both and spent a weekend with them at one of the events. And like she says, when Derek first told her about it, she thought it was a scam. And I absolutely thought it was a scam. And I, in my own little self-righteous way, thought, I'm going to prove these punks wrong because I'm in the industry. I prepare the financial statements, and I will not let this happen on my watch. And what happened is my watch became joining their team because I see what it can do for people. And I myself was a client, and I have 3 policies. And then as a client and seeing what it could do, I started studying, got my license, and now I'm looking to help other people. And actually somebody from my live reached out to me yesterday so that I'm going to help them down this road. And so I've had probably 2 or 3 people reach out to me in the past month. And if anybody wants to learn more about it, please reach out to me because I'll get you started on the journey and help get you into learning about it, answering any questions, and then let you get into a free strategy call if it's something you're interested in. And now back to the regularly scheduled programming of what does it mean to always be reaching for more? Or what are some tips when you're trying to reach for more? And the first thing they talk about is turn off the TV. And I'll tell you, sometimes in the days before, if the TV's on for me, it's usually a background noise. Like sometimes in my younger days, I would, and it's not like this anymore, but they would have like MTV or VH1. That's going to really age me. But I would like have background music. So now people just stream. But in the early days, we had dummy terminals. We didn't have smart computers. We had dummy terminals because a mainframe is actually where everything fed through. But I only have it like as a background noise. It's not something that I ever watch. But I think this idea of turning off the TV is great because a lot of TV actually, I think, brings on anxiety. And I like being happy. I like being joyful. I like trying to bring that out in other people. I know that our days here are numbered, and I want to enjoy those days here. I don't want to be fretful. And I'm not saying that every day is perfect, but I'm saying that I can decide how I'm going to react to that day. And if I can choose to make that butterfly in my stomach be excitement versus anxiety and fear, then I'm going to try really hard to go down that path. And part of that for me is turning off the TV because some of what's on the TV just brings me down, and I don't want it to be on TV. And so I just choose not to watch it. The next thing they talk about, and this is kind of interesting because I wonder, I think I do this sometimes, but I don't do this all the time. But when they're saying reaching for more, this is almost like a literal. They're saying that a pointer that they give is always stand up for hellos and goodbyes. And I'm like, I wonder if I do that. I don't really know if I do. But it's kind of interesting that they're calling that as a pointer to always reaching for more and for joy and for happiness. But hey, who am I to question it? It's worth a try, and then I can decide if it works for me or not. Because that's the beautiful thing. Anything you learn or hear, you have the ability to decide if you agree with it or if it works for you or if it doesn't. And if it doesn't, scroll past. There's no need to engage, just scroll past. The other thing they were talking about is ask deeper questions. And I think that's probably a true statement. And Jamie Miller, my communications coach, is a good one, because he always talks about he loves to answer the phone to telemarketers, because when they ask him, how was your day? He'll go, well, I got up this morning and I went to the bathroom and I brushed my teeth and I made toast, and he'll go through this big, huge thing, because he's like, they're asking the wrong questions. So he kind of teaches about that. And I kind of laughed and thought about him when this was one of the things, ask deeper questions. And to be honest, from the people, and Heather is one of them that I've met, I truly enjoy learning about the people that I've met in this journey. I truly enjoy finding out about their lives, about their families, about the things that are important to them, because one, it gives me hope for other things, and two, I like to cheer for them. I like to see things, wonderful things happen for people. I think that if we're here for community, and how we can be there for each other is critical and important, and I want to be part of that. So turn off the TV, stand up for hellos and goodbyes, and ask deeper questions. And this next one, I'm going to say absolutely stop complaining. It's, again, you get to choose how you're going to react to it. My law of attraction coach told me this once, and it does hold true because I've tested it. But I have a neighbor who is just ornery all the time, just cranky all the time. And she says to me one day, you realize you're at fault if it turns into an engagement of an argument. And I'm like, I don't like to argue. And she goes, well, whether you want to call it mood or energy, you have like a happiness or a joy or a mood, the emotional scale, which is kind of mood, happy, joy, anger, angry is low, but joy, bliss, happiness is higher. So she said, if you go outside and you're angry and cranky, and she's angry and cranky, you'll engage and you'll have an exchange. If you go outside and you're happy and you're joyful, and you refuse to fall to that lower level, you can't engage. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you can't engage? Yes, you can. And she goes, no. If you end up in an argument with somebody, it's because you let your energy or your mood or your thoughts meet them. And if you meet them, you engaged. If you choose to be happy, there's no engagement. And she said, well, happiness, they'll just get frustrated and walked away. And the first time it happened, I'm like, oh, that had to have been an accident. And then the second time it happened, I'm like, could it really be? And now the person doesn't even try to engage anymore. And I'm like, I'm okay with that. Because if you want to meet me in this place, because I almost attribute it to like somebody who's drank too much. If they've drank too much, this isn't the time you're going to have a serious conversation with them, because they can't meet you in that same place. So why even go there? Why engage in it? You have to be able to talk on the same level. And I always knew that about people that drank. I knew that I wasn't going to engage with them because, one, they may not ever remember it, and two, they can't really make a good decision. So I think that when you think about moods that people have, that's the same thing. If they're at that like angry point, you're not going to get anywhere. So why engage in it? Why create the conflict for you and that person? So I thought that was another good one. So stop complaining and wait for the appropriate time to have a conversation when the parties are ready for it. Then it says, look people in the eye. And I do tend to look people in the eye. I believe I do tend to look people in the eye, unless there's something going on or I see distractions in the background. Actually, there was a point in time where I think I was too much in the eye and I had to kind of back off a little bit. So you got to kind of feel out people's boundaries. But I think that's a good thing because it shows that you're interested in what they have to say. The next thing they say is learn from failure. And I'll say I've always been one to learn from failure, but the catch is in what attitude or how you let it make you feel. If you look at failure, and the good thing is my mentors and the people that I'm around, my circle now, they look at failure as just simply an opportunity to learn and they move on. They don't dwell on it. I came from an environment where people dwelled on it and what could I have done to make it not happen that way and how could I have avoided it? And what I finally see is you're not always going to make the right turn, and the quicker you realize that's just a learning opportunity and not a failure, the happier you'll be and the sooner that you'll get to your destination. Then they talked about visualizing, and I think that's good because if you're thinking in the direction of where you want to go, we know our mind is a very powerful tool, and if we're thinking in that direction, it will push us in that direction, which will allow us to move forward in that direction, because we do tend to go in the direction of where our thoughts are. And I think for too often in my life, I didn't realize where my thoughts were, or I was battling with some pretty difficult medical issues. And when that was going on, even though I didn't want to be in a place of fear or anxiety, I think without even realizing it, I probably was. And now that I've seen what it can be on the other side of it, it's the place that I choose to be. And the other thing is belief, and that kind of goes hand in hand with your idea of visualize, taking action. There's that thought of when you make a decision for a goal, you don't leave the place of making the decision to make a change without taking some action towards it. It's just like, even though I misunderstood it when I saw that message from Bob, who actually was the guy that challenged me to get my book done. When I saw that message, it to me looked like it was a personal message because it came in like a message on Instagram. It didn't dawn on me that it was a group message. But when it said, don't forget your YouTube, because he's one who has told me, don't forget to post your book on your Facebook page. Don't forget to keep it out there and active. So I took it as a personal thing to me, and I went out there and I scheduled 30 of them out, and then I'm going to start sharing it on my page so I get more followers as I kind of start to adjust that page more towards mindfulness and towards my book, the Courage to Change. And yes, if you buy the book, you won't have this line across the front, but I wanted it because it says author's copy. But I took that as a message from him, and you know what I'm going to say? It was a message to me. Get your stuff on YouTube because Facebook is going to delete videos. So that was an important thing for me to do. And I got the message even if it wasn't directed for me. The next thing they talk about is faith. And faith goes along with belief. And faith and belief, if you don't believe that you can do it, if you believe you can, you can. And if you believe you can't, you can't. And I think add to that is include prayers and include, if I'm in the wrong direction, please God, let me see it and help me to go into the right direction. As a young kid, because I was raised, and I know my mom hates when I say this, but it was very similar to Southern Baptist because they were on a farm in Southern Illinois, and it followed a lot of the same tenets of like the Southern Baptist religion. But I always felt like I was too small to communicate with God because who was I, in comparison? And now I understand more that you can have that free conversation, that every person is important. So faith and belief and trying to live the right life and communicating and praying, I think that those are all great tools. And the last thing that kind of came up is 5 C's. And I think I'm actually going to do more research on this idea of 5 C's and share on these in future days. But they're curiosity, commitment, consistency, clarity, and collaboration. So I like those 5 C's. We get farther when we go as a group, when we help each other down the road. Clarity is when you're with that group, sometimes they're going to be able to show you a light or a passage or a path that you don't see. Consistency is, it's just like Bob posted that group thing, and I thought it was to me personally, like, get on your YouTube. And now what happens is I was shadowing and I got 30 of them set out to schedule down the road. So again, please, if you would subscribe to my channel and watch it change as it shifts into like my Courage to Change, which is the mindfulness part. And as I do more talks, like I mentioned earlier that I had somebody reach out to me yesterday about learning more about the infinite banking process, and anyone else who wants to learn more about it. I have 3 policies myself. I came into the group trying to prove them wrong because I thought they couldn't possibly know something I didn't, only to find out that I left the W-2 world to join them because I see what it did for me and I know what it can do for everyone else. And taking back financial control of your life is a gift that I think all of us could benefit from. And I would love to be the person to help you get there. So these are the things that I was looking at today. And it's that idea that for often in my life, I looked for what was wrong. And now I'm looking for what is right and trying to improve what is right to keep things moving forward. So I did share a couple of quotes. Be happy, not because everything is perfect, but because you choose to focus on the perfect moments. And I think that's a great quote. And then there was an actual quote in this Oprah journal that was about joy, so I'll say that before I sign off for today. But it says, joy. When was the last time you felt real joy? You know what I mean. Those moments when every fiber of your being feels alive, energized, and excited. A feeling that you're doing exactly what you were meant to do. Over the years, I've learned how to find joy in the little things. The first sip of hot cup of coffee or tea, reading a great book, or sitting in silence watching the sunset. Now that's mine. Sunset, sunrise, water, outdoors, every single time. Butterflies, bumblebees, anything like that, flowers that will actually bring me a grounding and a feel-good moment that can't be beat. It's easy to get caught up in the non-essential aspects of our lives and forget to enjoy ourselves. But the truth is, you have the option to choose joy in this very moment. Just decide to start each day with fresh eyes, to see the world with renewed wonder and experience jubilance on every level. And I think that's a beautiful way. We can choose joy, or we can choose anger, hatred, and frustration. And for me, I choose joy because I know what life was to live from places of fear and loss of hope. And I know what it feels like to be 5 years on this side of it. And I think for the most part, everybody would rather be on this side of it. And that's my hope and my desire. And again, for those that I've mentioned to you, I'm working with a couple of people about the infinite banking process. Any others that would help you? It is something that I didn't think could possibly work. And now it's something that I left my W-2 job for so that I could pursue and help other people. And now that my phone wants to reconnect again, I think I'll disconnect and let you guys get to your weekend. Thank you for following me. I will start sharing that daily live that is from my Facebook page, but it's on my YouTube now. So if you would go over and subscribe, I would be appreciative. And we'll watch that page change to be more in line with what my book is and what my life is now. Thank you. Have a beautiful night. And I appreciate you all more than you'll know. And remember, choose joy, happiness, and love over anger, frustration, and despair. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.